All right, great. Let's get started. Good to have you all here in today's session. Today's session is about pursuing your one-year MBA abroad. And I am Digvijay Gagneja. I'm Chief Operating Officer at Leverage Edu. Leverage Edu is India's most trusted university admission service. We've helped thousands of students get to their dream universities for their higher education abroad. I personally have done my one-year MBA PGP program at Indian School of Business. While doing that, I also had a semester exchange wherein I did a fourth semester at the Fuqua School of Business at Duke University. So I would be sort of I have a little bit of glimpse of having done a one-year MBA as well as being part of a class that was doing the two-year MBA at Duke University. Prior to that, I have experience at management consulting at McKinsey & Company. I've also done manufacturing ops and supply chain management at ITC Limited, and I've also been involved with the financial services industry as a venture capital investor at Matrix Partners. And at Leverage Edu, I have personally coached hundreds of students to get to their dream universities. So today, I'm here to answer your questions on how to pursue a one-year MBA abroad. And a bunch of you have asked a lot of questions around what type of candidates should take up a one-year MBA or a two-year MBA. The cost of doing a one-year MBA, what exam you should do, whether one should consider an MBA in London. So I will address all those questions. Let me structure my conversation today as follows, right? First, I'm going to cover the topic of 1 year versus 2 year. How do you make that decision? I think that is the first and the foremost decision you should make while considering to do an MBA. And that is what I'm going to cover. And then I'm going to break it down into different elements that will help you decide whether to do a one-year MBA versus two-year MBA. And it will also sort of intermingle with you figuring out where you should then decide to do your MBA and whether or not MBA is even the right fit course for you. So I'm going to take all these. This is how I'm going to structure it. So let me first start with the most asked question, frequently asked question by our students on 1 year versus 2 year. How do you make that decision? So there are three key objectives, three key levers on how you decide whether a one-year MBA is fit for you or a two-year MBA is fit for you, right? So the first question that you should ask yourself is, how much do you know about why you want to do your MBA, right? So are you really crystal clear on why you want to do your MBA? And I'm going to deep dive on that lever in a little while. Second is location, right? So where do you want to do your MBA is a very important question to answer before you decide 1 year versus 2 year MBA, because many locations give you enough advantages and enough sort of options to do a 1 year MBA and are good destinations to do a 1 year MBA, whereas there are some countries that you're better off doing a 2 year MBA. Third is the amount of money you're willing to spend and also the opportunity cost associated with it, right? And a fourth lever, which is sort of clubbed with the third lever, which also talks about what is your previous work experience like, the amount of work experience you have, and the area you have your work experience in, right? So let me start deep diving into each of these levers, right? So the first question I ask you to answer for yourself is, how much do you know about why you want to do your MBA? And the reason I ask that question is, personally, having done a 1 year MBA, I realized that a 1 year MBA is really, really fast paced. What I mean by that is, at ISB, for example, I found that a regular Fuqua School of Business 2 year MBA curriculum is literally taught in 1 year in a 1 year MBA. So it's not like they're making you miss out on any of the course content. They're just squeezing the 2 years into 1 year, right? Well, that means it's really, really fast paced. It does not give you time to think and explore, right? What I mean by that is, it depends on why you want to do the MBA. Are you that person who's saying, you know what, I am already I'm going to stick to my industry and I just want to jump a couple of levels in the hierarchy, right? I want to probably get to management layer, start leading people, and hence I want to do an MBA. And you're sort of 80-90% sure of what you want to do after you finish your MBA, right? Versus you're someone who's saying, you know what, I'm not really sure about what I'm going to do after my MBA. I want to explore. I want to take the time. I want to do an internship. I want to post the internship, take electives in my second year across different domains. I want to take electives in marketing. I want to take electives in supply chain management and operations. I want to take electives in, say, healthcare management. And I want to explore what these domains contain. And hence, after that, I want to figure out what I want to do after my MBA, right? So that key statement of a 1-year MBA is really, really fast paced. It does not give you time to think and explore. So hence, if you are really, really clear about what you want to do after your MBA and why you are doing an MBA, then go ahead with a 1-year MBA. But if you are, say, 50% there and you're still not sure, it's better off. It'll be better for you to do a 1-year MBA. And again, to my first part, and to say you're really, really sure, I don't mean to say 100% sure. Nobody is ever 100% sure of what do they want to do after an MBA. So if you think like, if you start thinking about, I'm not sure, that's not the right way to think about it. If you're like 70, 80% sure, you've really thought through it, and you want to look at 1 or 2 of these dimensions, 2 of these career paths, to say a couple of industries, and you know exactly what kind of work you want to do, then a 1-year MBA makes sense for you, right? So yeah, a 2-year MBA, recapping, a 2-year MBA gives you an opportunity to do an internship. A 2-year MBA gives you an option to take electives throughout your second year. And generally, you're looking at getting placed at the end of second year, say 4 months shy of you getting graduated, right? So if you're going to graduate, say in April, you're going to be interviewing, say, between November and December of the previous year, right? So what a 2-year MBA does is give you 1.5 years wherein you explore multiple courses. You've done a 2-month internship at a place where you wanted to explore, and then you're going and interviewing for jobs, right? In a 1-year MBA, at your 4-month mark, right, you will enter in at the 4-month mark, you would start preparing your resume, you'll try and get even recruited by the 6th month and the 7th month, and post that, the remaining 3 or 4 months is going to be when you really get the chance of exploring different options, like I talked about, different electives, right? So for me, for example, I entered and started my MBA in April. I already was preparing my resume and starting to interview by October. By mid-November, December, I was already placed. And that was the time when actually a lot of these interesting electives were coming up, in healthcare and marketing and operations and whatnot. And I was still exploring. So if I were in the exploratory phase, it would have been a bad deal for me, right? However, I was really confident about going to do an MBA because I just wanted to get into management consulting or financial services. I was very, very sort of clear about it, right? Management consulting, financial services, I think ISP will give me a good bit of benefit. I've done my research about thinking, about seeing the kind of stats about what kind of students with my kind of profile would make it to these kind of, these kind of careers. So hence, it was a good decision for me, right? So yeah, that's about how fast-paced a 1-year MBA is versus a 2-year MBA, right? So let's look at the second dimension, the second lever, which is location, right? You need to think about where you want to be after doing your MBA, right? So if you are considering staying back in India, then there's no point for you to, ideally, I would not want to do an MBA abroad and come back, because from a return on investment perspective, it's not the best decision. Even otherwise, in India, corporates, companies recognize an Indian MBA more than a foreign MBA, unless, of course, you've gone to the top leagues like a Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, or an Oxford, Cambridge, or a LBS and the like, or an INSEAD. Of course, companies know that. But if you're not going to those, if you're going to even good schools abroad, that are recognized abroad, may not be recognized in India. For example, in ISADE MBA might not be recognized as well in India. So yeah, you would be better off doing an MBA at an Indian school of business, or a 1-year MBA or a 2-year MBA at the IIMs or the other schools out there, and stay back in India. I'm guessing most of you are here because you want to do your MBA in a foreign country, and hence let me talk a little bit about that. When you say you want to be in the UK, then you should try and do an MBA in the UK. If you want to be in Europe, you should try and do an MBA in Europe. If you want to be in the US or in Canada, you should try and do an MBA in those countries, right? Similarly for Australia, New Zealand, right? So that you need to figure out. So you first need to decide which location you want to be at. And the reason I'm saying that is because every location has either a 1-year MBA or a 2-year MBA, right? Someone's asking, are ROIs on a 1-year MBA usually better than 2-year MBAs? I'm just going to come to that. So I was saying, yeah, different locations offer different sort of duration. So for example, in the UK, traditionally, MBA programs have been just 1 year, right? So barring the flagship LBS program for 16 to 21 months, most of the MBA programs in the UK are 1 year, right? Be it in Oxford, Cambridge, or even as you go down the road, go to other schools like a Warwick Business School, or an Imperial College London, or a Lancaster University, or an Edinburgh, or a Strathclyde, and the likes. All of these are one-year MBA programs. So the good thing about the UK is traditionally it's been a one-year MBA program, and hence you're at level footing with everyone, right? And the MBA options you have for your career are same across all colleges, right? So it's actually, if you're going to be in the UK, one-year MBA is the norm, right? So unless you get into an LBS, which is a flagship 2-year program, every other option is mostly a one-year MBA program. There are a few outliers out there which give you like a one-year industry placement and things like that, but the norm is a one-year MBA program. Similarly, in Europe, the best MBA program in the world is INSEAD, which is also not even 1 year. It's like between 10, like there are two options, a 10 months and there is a 10 months plus an internship option that goes on to 13, 14 months, right? So even the best program in the world is a 1-year MBA program. Whereas if you now move further west and you look at the US or Canada, you would find most of the majority flagship programs that you would have heard throughout are 2-year MBA programs. Having said that, it's not like they don't have 1-year MBA programs, but yes, the majority flagship MBA programs are 2-year MBA programs. So all of the Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, the Ivy Leagues, all the regular schools that you hear about all the time generally have 2-year MBA programs. They are the ones that are better known. They are the ones that attract most of the Indian crowd to do their MBA in, right? So yeah, if you're looking at UK, Canada, should probably think of a 2-year MBA versus a 1-year MBA. Unless the lever 3 and 4 convince you to do something otherwise, right? The third lever that I was talking about is the amount of money you're willing to invest. And to answer Varun's question on ROI of 1-year MBA versus 2-year MBA, I think this lever is going to answer that, right? So the amount of money you're going to invest in a 1-year MBA versus a 2-year MBA. So the reality is that a 1-year MBA program and a 2-year MBA program in terms of tuition fee are broadly the same. A 1-year MBA program is probably going to be, say, 80-90% of the 2-year MBA tuition fee. And you can also think about the reason, right? Because generally the MBA school is squeezing the 2-year academic program into a 1-year MBA program. It's not like they're shortchanging you shortchanging you on the number of hours you'll be, or the credits you'll be getting, right? The number of hours you'll be studying or the credits you'll be getting. So tuition fee broadly remains the same, about 80-90%, in some cases slightly higher as well. The big difference in ROI comes from the opportunity cost perspective, right? What do you mean by opportunity cost? So for example, for me, when I did my 1-year MBA at ISB, by the time I finished my I almost paid off my loan, right? By that, what you mean is that by the end of second year, I had almost paid off my loan, about 70-80% of it. By the 2.5-year mark, I paid off the entire loan. Versus if I were to do a 2-year MBA, I would have had to shell out the money, but I had also lost a 1 year of potentially being able to work and earn on the side, right? So what that means is if I had done a 2-year MBA, I would be the same amount of cash down as I would be at the end of 1 year in a 1-year MBA program. So with a 1-year MBA program, at the end of 2 years, I almost recovered my investment. I was at a better sort of trajectory in my career. I was also earning a lot more than I was prior to my MBA. So yeah, from an ROI perspective, the big thing you should consider is your opportunity cost, right? The fourth lever that I was talking about was the previous work experience that you have, right? Now, the previous work experience comes in handy in two perspectives, right? One, how many years of work experience do you have? If you feel like you've say already got 4-5 years of work experience under your belt, you are reasonably clear on, this is what I want to do. This is what I want to gain out of an MBA. Go ahead for a 1-year MBA program, right? 5-6 years work experience. If you're someone like me when I was thinking about doing an MBA who had done 3 years of work experience, but at the same time, I'd done 5 years of undergraduate, right? I had done a BTech plus MTech sandwich program at IIT Kharagpur, and I'd already spent 5 years studying, right? So I did not want to invest another 2 years studying. I was reasonably clear of what I was going to do. Versus now, imagine someone who has got 3 years of work experience and has done a 3 years bachelor's before, has the time to explore at this point of time, and does not mind doing another 2-year MBA. I think go ahead for a 2-year MBA, right? You should do that. Versus if you feel that you're someone who's already got enough work experience, who's already done a lot of years of education and wants to just quickly get to doing an MBA and move ahead in your career track, you're reasonably sure of where you want to go ahead for a 1-year MBA, right? So that's the first part about doing a 1 year, about your previous work experience. The second part about previous work experience, and it is very, very relevant for especially schools in US, where generally US and Canada, where generally you're looking at a 2-year MBA program, but there are schools that offer you 1-year MBA program. For those 1-year MBA program schools, you need to have a previous work experience and a previous education that relates to business a lot more. So if you've done your master's in management before, or if you, your undergrad degree is in business before, or you've done certain modules or courses on the side that are related to, a business management degree, that will give you an edge to get into those 1-year courses in the US and Canada. So for example, you would have heard of all the great names in the US giving you, Kellogg, Cornell, Harvard, Wharton, Stanford, generally giving you a 2-year MBA program, but you would not know this, that a Kellogg or a Cornell or a Fuqua, or an NYU Stern or a USC Marshall or a Notre Dame, all offer 1-year accelerated MBA programs as well. But the only condition is that your undergraduate should have been from a business background, and or some courses that have reflected, some courses that you've taken while in your undergrad or after, that show some element of you having done something around statistics, economics, marketing, ops, or something like that, right? So that's the second part about having a work experience. So recapping, work experience lever. One, if you have a high number of work experience in terms of number of years, go ahead for a 1-year MBA program. If you have 3 years of work experience and say you have done a degree before that has some element of, subjects like statistics, economics, marketing, ops, or some business elements, then also it would be better for you to position yourself in your eligibility, as eligible for a 1-year MBA program in the US or Canada, right? So yeah, I think the second part I would want to now cover is which location has what schools that offer you a 1-year MBA program. So yeah, I already covered UK and Europe generally give a 1-year MBA program, and similarly the US generally offers a 2-year MBA program. And now if you were to also look at Canada also mostly offers 2-year MBA programs, but there are schools like a Queen's University or an HEC in Montreal or a Western or a McGill or an Alberta or a Lakehead or Ryerson where you can get 1-year MBA options as well. But the deal remains the same. You need to show some form of business study background in your undergraduate degree, right? So yeah, that's broadly about different locations and what kind of programs they offer, right? So recapping, how do you define a 1-year MBA program versus 2-year? First question to answer is how much do you know about what you want to do out of your MBA? Because a 1-year MBA program is really, really fast paced. It does not give you time to explore. So if you feel like you need the second year, you need like 16, 18 months to explore an internship opportunity, to explore multiple courses and electives across different domains that you want to take before you actually go out for the final job as you're graduating from an MBA program, go for a 2-year MBA. Versus if you feel like you know what you want out of an MBA, what you want out of your MBA program, go for a 1-year MBA program, right? Second thing, location. Figure out where you want to be, because most likely, whichever country you're doing your MBA in, rather to the tune of whichever state or city you're doing your MBA in abroad, you would be likely to get a job in that state or city as well, not on the country also. So for example, you want to be in the UK, try and do an MBA in London if you want to be in London and get a job there. Similarly, if you go to other states or other countries, like you could do an MBA in Edinburgh in Scotland, which is like the top 5 or 6 ranked MBA program in the UK, you would probably end up getting a job in Scotland, right? Getting a job in London might be difficult than probably when you were studying in an Imperial College London or a Oxford, Cambridge and the likes, right? An Oxford or a LBS and the likes, right? So yeah, location, right? Third, money you're willing to spend. So do not forget about opportunity cost. Do not just weigh your options in the amount of tuition fee you're going to invest. The biggest lever is opportunity cost, and there is also the lever of obviously the living expenses that you'll spend in 2 years versus 1 year, right? So do not forget these two big elements. Your opportunity cost in the second year is going to be the biggest differentiator between doing a 1-year MBA versus 2-year MBA. And of course, if you want to do a 1-year MBA abroad, your previous work experience really counts. Whether you've done a degree in business related domains in your undergraduate or not, right? Great. Now let me quickly jump to a few questions that I got earlier. What is the cost, and what exams do you need to give to do MBA abroad, right? So cost I already covered. It's broadly the same as a 2-year MBA program for the same university. It'll be like 80-90% of that, but your opportunity cost is going to be the big differentiator between the two programs. What exams do you need to give to get to an MBA program? If you're looking at North America, US, and Canada, you would likely need to give a GMAT exam. That is the reality, GMAT or GRE, either of the two. If you were to not give a GMAT or a GMAT exam, you have a lot of options in the UK, right? Of course, you won't be able to get into an LBS, Oxbridge, Warwick, and the likes, or even an Imperial, but anything beyond that in terms of ranking, say, Strathclyde or a Lancaster or an Edinburgh and the likes, would have enough options to do your MBA without giving your GMAT, right? And I've covered this in previous videos in on topics like MBA in UK and MBA in US that go a lot deeper into answering this question about what is the admission process. So if you're looking at these options, like these questions come to your mind, go to leverageedu.com, go to Leverage TV there, and you would be able to see my previous videos recordings over there. Also join our community, wherein we keep having these sessions every day at 6 p.m. and we post a lot of blogs and content relevant to answering these questions as well, right? But in short, you do not need a GMAT program in the UK to be able to do an MBA, but in most of the courses in the US, Canada, you would need a GMAT to be able to do an MBA. It is just the score that you would need to get would keep varying. For the top ranked programs, you would probably need to be somewhere around 680, 700 plus in your GMAT score. When you go down slightly down the lower ranking program, you will need to be getting about 630, 650 plus. And bare minimum for even courses in Canada and US, you need at least about 550, 580 plus, right? But there other factors do also come in handy, right? So if you've not got a GMAT score that is good enough, you need to then put in a lot more effort into your story, into your essays, into your profile. So if you've got a fantastic profile that really puts you out in the top 5 percentile of all applicants, that might even outweigh the fact that you've not got a great GMAT score. So it's the whole holistic profile that comes into play, right? I hope that answers your question about which exam do you want to give to get and do your MBA. Someone had asked a question about doing an MBA program in London. All right. So yeah, I think I answered a lot about it. I think a very interesting thing that's happening in the UK right now is the policy has changed a lot with respect to visa regulations in the UK, right? So we had Brexit happen, because of which there were about 1.6 million people leaving the UK, which created a big void of good skilled people to take up jobs in the UK, which is where UK now has changed their policy. Earlier, if you were to even go to an LBS flagship program, you would just get 4 months to find a job after your MBA. Otherwise, you had to come back to your home country. And I know personally a lot of people who have gone to good schools and done their MBA. It's just that they could not find a job in the UK and had to come back even after having spent literally crores in their MBA, and come back and take up a job that would not justify that investment, take up a job in India, right? However, now things have changed. Things have changed drastically. So now in the UK, after just investing 1 year into your MBA program, you get minimum 2 years post-study work visa. What that means is you will be allowed to stay in the UK and get a job for the next 2 years, right? And if you've done an MBA, you will likely get a good job, and you will be able to then convert those 2 years into a points-based PR system that is also being introduced in the UK now. So Go 1 year study, get 2 year post-study work visa, complete that. You have a good enough job to extend your visa and get a work visa. And post that, you have a points-based PR system. So a path to PR is also open for you in the UK. This was not the case before. So UK is on track to be very similar to Australia and Canada in providing a path to PR to its students, right? So that is the big difference now in the UK versus UK even last year. So this has started just April 21 onwards. Whichever students are graduating are getting this option. Prior to that, they had to come back if they did not find a job in 4 months. So yeah, that's my thoughts on doing an MBA in the UK, and especially in London. London is, of course, financial capital. It's a great city to be in, and if you're getting an option to do an MBA in London, you would, and there is enough economic opportunity in UK for you to be able to crack a good job, make a career and life in the UK. Yeah, so that's about answering the question around what I think about doing an MBA in London. Okay, let me just quickly swipe through what are the different questions that have come. What type of candidates should take up a 1 year MBA instead of a 2 year MBA? I think I already answered that. ROIs, a 1 year MBA usually better than 2 year MBAs? Yes, from an opportunity cost perspective, they are. I intend to work in US and Canada, but interested in 1 year MBA. What's the solution for this? I did cover a bit about it. US, there are a lot of schools that offer you a 1 year MBA option as well. Similarly, Canada, I also spoke about these options just a little while back. The only thing that you'll need to do is ensure you're able to prove in your application that you come from an undergraduate background in business courses like statistics, economics, operations, marketing, or something like that, right? Or if you don't have an undergraduate degree like that, you probably can do a few courses, online or somewhere, get certificates and prove that, you know what, you're really inclined to do this, and you've also done extra courses that support your application. Along with that, generally having a 3 years work experience, demonstrating that in that work experience you've had opportunities to show leadership potential, hence you want to do an MBA and take it to the next level. That will make a very well-rounded application for you to get to a 1 year MBA program in US and Canada, right? What about pharmaceutical MBA and post MBA opportunities? That's Wade's question. That's a great one. So yeah, pharmaceutical MBA programs are also great options, especially US is the right place for you to do a pharmaceutical MBA. The pharmaceutical industry is huge over there. And if you are really interested in the pharma industry, then you should go ahead and do a pharmaceutical MBA. However, I must warn you, it's a very sort of niche MBA, right? You're not sort of, doing you're not doing an MBA that is more generalist in nature, which basically means you're devoting yourself to a pharmaceutical sector itself, right? So yeah, my thought would be, if you're really interested in the pharma sector, go ahead and do a pharma MBA. You will have great opportunities, especially in a country like the US. Warren Thomas, I currently have 2 years of work ex and will have 3.5 years of work experience at the time of matriculation. Is it possible for me to apply for a 1 year MBA program? Absolutely. As long as you have more than 3 years of work experience, you are eligible to apply for a 1 year MBA program. ISB generally, for example, in India, has an average work ex of about 3.5 years itself. And even outside India, 3 years is bare minimum that you should have before applying for an MBA program. Of course, it's all about the profile that you build, right? It's not just about the number of years of work experience, but it's also about what exposure you had in your experience, right? So exposure contain leadership potential, leadership opportunities where you demonstrated impact and now are willing to sort of take that knowledge that you got and by being, by putting getting your hands dirty in the field, you want to round that off and solidify that knowledge by now doing a formal education, the form of an MBA. That is a story. If you can pull it off, plus a good GMAT score, you should be good to go ahead. And of course, showing some form of idea that you understand business fundamentals because of having done some courses or having done a bachelor's in business before. All right, Rachna Kodam. So I need to give GMAT for US, Canada, North America, but GMAT for any other exam isn't necessary for pursuing MBA 1 year in the UK. I think I'm correct. Yes, Rachna, you're right. Not for any MBA program in the UK. If you're going for an LBS, an Oxford, Cambridge, even say Imperial College London or Warwick, you would need, or a Manchester Alliance Business School, you would need to give GMAT GRE. But all the other schools do not require a GMAT or a GRE. This year is a special year, by the way. Even Warwick and Imperial Business School are waiving off GMAT requirements because of the current COVID pandemic, but it's still 50-50. If you were able to give a GMAT or a GRE, you would have better chances of getting in. But all the other programs in the UK do not require a GMAT to get in, right? All you need is a bare minimum level of percentage of marks in your UG program. So most of these good MBA programs would still require you to have scored, say, about 70% plus in your UG. Would need you to write a great statement of purpose that supports your application. And you would, of course, have to then go through an interview process if you're selected based on your statement of purpose and your profile, right? And yes, you need to show at least 3 years of work experience, that you have 3.5 years of work experience. You need to write your statement of purpose in a way that you demonstrate having had exposure to showing, leadership opportunities and what kind of impact you were able to deliver as a result of that. I'm a product manager interested to pursue the same role after MBA. Should I go for an MBA or not? Shubham Chaudhary, very, very interesting question. I think I like this question the most for today evening. What do you want to do after when you say you're a product manager, and why do you want to do an MBA? That is what you need to answer, right? Are you seeing that you want to shift? Say you're a product manager in a startup right now, and you feel that you want to be a product manager at the biggies, say a Google or a Facebook and the like. And there is no straightforward path to get to the biggies, right? So if you're looking to do an MBA, you should, and you want to be a product manager in the future at the biggies, then it makes sense for you to do an MBA, because then once you do an MBA, you get access to interviewing for the biggies. You also get a brand name of an MBA behind you from a good school. And that is when you have access to the biggies, you show that, I have relevant work experience in my background, in my previous work experience, and hence I want to be a product manager at the biggies. If you want to stick to your current company and still do an MBA, it might not be the best outcome. So if you're already a product manager at Google, you shouldn't do an MBA. I think you're at a great place and you can keep going from there, right? So that would be my advice to you, Shubham. All right, Ved Patel, please tell us how to connect with you in person. Reach out to us, go visit leverageedu.com. You can also call us at 1-800-572-000 and talk to our counselors, and we can help you through your journey to get to your MBA program abroad. All right, I guess there are no other questions. We are already over time. I thought this session would be a 15-20 minute session, but it turned out to be almost 40 minutes. So a great conversation. Loved chatting with you all and interacting with you all. Thanks so much for coming and attending this live stream. Stay tuned. Join Leverage Edu communities. Visit leverageedu.com. Go to Leverage TV. Watch all our previous shows that go live every 6 p.m. every day, and join our communities wherein we keep sharing a lot of our content. So join our Telegram community and WhatsApp communities where we keep sharing a lot of our content that you can get access to on a daily basis completely for free. All right, great chatting with you all. Thanks so much, and see you soon on our next live stream.